Mr. Mayor, you up.
Thank you, Mr. President. To the council, I want to thank everybody for the work you've been doing in the community over the last few weeks. I know it's been a while since we met. We've had several discussions on a number of matters. I'm going to try to touch on those briefly. I want to be mindful of your time as well as those that are here in the audience and those that may be listening. But I want us to, if we can, I know we just had a prayer, but I'd like for us to start by remembering we lost a member of our family last couple of days with the loss of Detective Tanisha Pusley. You know, it's never easy, I think, to lose one of our men and women in blue. I think certainly when someone is taken at such a young age, it makes the circumstances even that much more tragic, and that's what occurred. And I think one thing that we often forget about those that are sworn to serve and protect us is that they are people too with lives, and they deal with challenges every day just like we all do. And when you have a young lady like that, professional who was respected and admired by her colleagues, to be taken away under such tragic circumstances, it should be a moment for all of us to pause, because we know that there are other people in this community who are dealing with issues surrounding domestic violence, who are dealing with issues in their own homes. And we have to remember that and try to think of ways that we can help them and think about ways that we can also protect them when need be. And so I just want us at this time, if we would just bow our heads with a moment of silence. Thank you. In honor of Detective Pusley, the city has ordered all flags at not only City Hall, but all of our buildings to be lowered to half staff until the final homegoing service. Whenever that is, the flags will be lowered to half staff in honor of her until that time. I'm going to now try to transition from this subject to one that is not nearly as important given the life that was lost, but I do want to give the council an executive summary on the financial status of the city, and just kind of give you an update on that. The global pandemic known as COVID-19 continues to create chaos on the economics of the world, our nation, and cities throughout the state of Alabama, including our own capital city. More importantly, this virus has not only affected us financially, but has caused much sickness as well as loss of life to many citizens. As the city of Montgomery navigates through this uncharted waters, we are continuing to try to do all that we can to save lives. As you know, a number of mandates are currently in place to try to slow the virus down in the city, and by doing so, I hope that ultimately life will return to some semblance of normalcy in the very near future. At our first council meeting in June, I presented slides on the screen to show you where 4 of the city's revenue streams stacked up compared to those in 2019. Again, I'll present to you the numbers that are in for June's collections for those same revenue streams. Once all end-of-the-month journal entries have posted to the general ledger, the finance director, Betty Beeville, and staff will be working on projections of revenues and expenditures for the remainder of this fiscal year. We should have those numbers back by the middle of next week. Please put the first slide up. We'll get to COVID in just a second. We want to try to get to the finance slides if we can. There we go. Thank you. Revenue from sales and use tax increased 5.93% in June compared to the same month in fiscal year 2019. So basically, it increased 6%. Please note that this same tax declined in May by 18% compared to May of 2019. It was expected there would be an increase in June's collections because the State Revenue Commissioner waived penalties of late sales tax returns in March until June 1st, 2020. The City of Montgomery also deferred penalties on returns through June the 1st. Those businesses that closed to defer their payments would have paid in June in order not to incur a penalty for late payment after June the 1st. Interest on late payments by law cannot be deferred. The deferred payments plus interest is what has likely caused the almost 6% increase in sales and use tax over the year June 2019. Additionally, the increase would have also been affected by the spending of the federal stimulus dollars that many households received in May. The overall total increase in sales and use tax is 3% compared to fiscal year 2019. Now, I don't want us to get a false sense of security that sales and use tax will continue to grow at a rate of 3% for the remainder of this year. Not at all. The deferred tax returns by businesses and additional interest due because of deferred payments more than likely has caused this anomaly. It's very important to keep that in mind. I'm going to read that one more time. The deferred tax returns by businesses and additional interest due because of deferred payments more than likely has caused this anomaly. So it's very important for us to understand what this means and kind of what pattern or trend we should expect from it. Also, if businesses continue to operate at current levels, the 3.3% overall growth will probably erode over the remainder of the current fiscal year. Next slide, please. Lodging tax compared to June of 2019 saw a decline of 60%. Hotels are still operating at an occupancy rate of less than 45%. Lodging taxes are not expected to increase to its normal 80 to 85% occupancy rate during this time of year until the virus has declined significantly and conventions along with tourism have begun to increase in the city. We should note that economists do not expect this to change for the remainder of the third or fourth quarter, so essentially we expect it to be under these same guidelines and these current economic conditions throughout the remainder of the year. Lodging tax has also declined an overall 16% compared to the same time period in fiscal year 2019. So again, when you extrapolate where this is headed for the second half of this year, it's not a pretty picture. Next slide, please. Gasoline taxes declined in June by 27% compared to June of 2019. Although the decline for June was less than May, the decline has eroded away an overall positive growth rate of roughly 5% or 4.6% to be exact, to a negative growth rate of 1.3% in a one-month period. Hopefully, some of the decline in gasoline taxes will increase to at least a break-even level as travel increases in and around the city. Last slide, please. Finally, alcoholic beverages taxes increased 2.5% over last year's collections in June. The revenue collected in June was up over May's collections by 17.3% in the current year. This tax is showing a growth rate overall of 4.1% compared to the same period of the last fiscal year. The only explanation we offered up for this increase is that since people are staying home more, they are probably consuming more alcohol than they would otherwise. That can be good or that can be bad, depending on how much beer you like. Due to the impact of COVID-19 on the financial position of the city, we are probably seeing the worst financial year in the history of the city of Montgomery. As I've stated before, we are committed to continuing to provide services to the citizens of Montgomery at a level the city can afford and will spend and invest every dollar for those services as efficiently as we can. But we must keep in mind that this is a new paradigm that we're in. We're all going to have to adjust our expectations and our sense of normalcy because of the COVID-19 pandemic. This pandemic is expected and has been shared by the Congressional Budget Office to impact our economy for the next decade. So we will have to adjust not only in this year, but going forward to a new environment that is one that unlike any of us have ever seen. That concludes my update on the financial status of the city. Finally, I want to go right to the cause of most of the financial implication that we were talking about, and that is the COVID-19 pandemic and the overall impact on the city of Montgomery. I won't read all this to you, as most of you can see this slide, but I just want to highlight just a couple of quick points. You know, right now, we represent about 9% of all of Alabama's cases, with an astounding 848 cases in the last 14 days. And I say it's astounding because that number is down in the last 2 weeks versus where we were the last time we met. So while the number is still high, we are seeing some level of positive trends there. We also can see from the slide that we represent 10% of Alabama COVID deaths, and in Montgomery, 2.5% of the positive cases have passed away. Next slide, please. If we look at cases per month, this is a breakdown of the percentage of COVID cases on a month-by-month basis. So as you see, the largest percentage of COVID cases that we've seen thus far came in the month of June. Almost 50% were in June, with May being second at 33%. So far, we're at 9% already in just the first week. We hope that by taking some of the steps that will be before us tonight, we can continue to keep that number as low as we can. Because I do think it's important for us to understand the steps that we can take, and we're seeing other local and state governments take across the country to try to slow the spread. Next slide, please. When we take a look at hospitalization statewide, one of the things that we so often hear is that, well, the numbers are going to go up as you test more. And that is very true. But when we look at hospitalization statewide, and this is the percentage that those cases make up in Montgomery, again, we see what happened in June, and we see May was not far behind that. When we think about April, from March to April, we had a 423% increase in hospitalizations. From April to May, we had an 87% increase, and in June, we had a 49% increase. So far, again, in July, we have an increase of about 7%. So we want to try to keep that number down for the benefit of our community, for the benefit of our medical professionals, as well as those who are coming in contact with people that are being exposed to the COVID-19 virus. Next slide, please. We're ready, and we want to stay ready, but we have to keep in mind that in order to keep our numbers under a lid, we have to make some decisions. And the decisions are those that right now are being guided by an executive order with the mask mandate, but it's one that will be before you tonight to vote on. And I think it's incumbent upon the council to vote in support of this ordinance, because as we've seen now across the country, we're seeing a tremendous rise in COVID cases, and we're seeing hospitalizations go through the roof in many municipalities, and certainly across many states. We're also seeing that impact our public safety departments across this country. It's impacted our police department. It certainly has impacted our fire and rescue department as well. And so there are things that we have to try to do, I think, from our positions, not only from the mayor's office, but as a legislative body, as the council, to try to amplify the message and the seriousness of this issue through the creation of ordinances that we want people to abide by. Does it mean you can enforce it 100%? Not any more than you can enforce any other ordinance 100%. But it is there to be a guide. It is there to be a support structure, not only for our residents, but also for our businesses. And we're going to ask for the cooperation of those residents and those businesses in this so that we can make sure that Montgomery continues to try to stay ahead of this. Again, this is a long-term battle that we'll be in. We're going to have to adjust in every way, shape, form, or fashion our behavior and some of our practices. We're seeing football canceled in the fall. We're seeing large-scale events canceled. We're seeing just the normal way of doing things and things that we probably could not have imagined going without being canceled. And so whether that's our public schools, whether that's our higher education, or whether that's just our day-to-day recreational activities, these are things that are being impacted by our inability to get our arms around this pandemic. And so I think from our place here as the city of Montgomery, as the regional capital of Central Alabama, as a state government capital, we have to take the lead as we have in sharing with our residents our understanding of their health, of this impact on our businesses and on our community, and what we can do going forward. And so I'm going to ask, as I take my seat, that when the ordinance is presented tonight, that all the city council support the mandated mask ordinance because it is a crucial step to us slowing the spread of this coronavirus. It's a crucial step in us making sure that we can minimize the impact not only on individuals but also collectively on our community. And I think it will be in the best interest of this city if we share our statement of support for those who have been impacted by this pandemic already, to those that are on the front lines of this, to our medical professionals and frontline workers and other members of our community, that we understand the seriousness of this, and we believe that the mandating of masks in these circumstances that are outlined in the ordinance that we'll vote on tonight is in keeping with the public health being the first priority of this body and of this administration and of city leaders. And with that said, Mr. President, I'll turn it back over to you, and I appreciate your leadership.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
I got a question for the mayor.
Okay.
Mayor, have you and Ms. Beeville, have y'all, I know you were talking a couple months ago, a $20 to $22, $24 million shortfall, and looking at these numbers tonight, have y'all got a better picture of where that number may possibly fall if we continue to trend up a little bit?
We are budgeting as if that number is still holding true. We are budgeting, preparing for the worst, and certainly praying for the best. But it is with those numbers you've seen before us in mind that we are presenting that to all of our cabinet officials, as well as our police chief, our fire and rescue chief as well.
Okay.
Ben, would you like to add to that?
Hi, thank you, Mayor. We're looking now at a budget, hopefully, that we can get to as far as the revenue streams and what we anticipate we're going to be collecting in the FY21 budget year, right around $240 million. So you know where we are now at 259, 930, 195, I believe it is. So that in itself says that we're going to have roughly a $20 million shortfall. And we're working on the budget every day. All budgets have been in, they've been checked for accuracy. And so hopefully by the end of the week, we'll know how close we are to that, you know, having the budget to where we think the revenue is going to end up being. Okay? Anything else?
No, ma'am, thank you.
All right,
Thank you, Betty. Okay. Madam Clerk, let's get started with the agenda. First item.
Mr. President, item 1, hearing on proposed ordinance adopting the technical codes of the City of Montgomery, 2018.
This first item is a public hearing. Anyone who likes to talk on this item, please let it be known. Hearing none, declare the public hearing's been held.
Motion to adopt.
Have a motion to adopt. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Ordinance is adopted. Item 3, application for a restaurant retail liquor license doing business as G&S Restaurant at 1609 Rosa L. Parks Avenue.
We had the public hearing last time on this. Is there a representative here for that, for G&S Restaurant? Anybody outside for G&S Restaurant?
I think he went outside.
Did he? Okay.
We need to check to see if anybody's on the phone too, Mr. President.
Is there?
We need to check to see if anybody's on the phone.
Is there? Yeah, check and see. Nobody?
Is
Yeah,
there any?
I think we're okay on this one. I just want them to be here when they hear it. What you got? Are those people from G&S coming in?
Look like it. They look familiar.
Okay.
Bringing in 3 and 4.
What you got?
Are you calling in regarding G&S Restaurant? Yeah. Okay.
All right, turn it down till we get through
Hold
this.
on just a moment. We have to hear from the person in the chamber first, and then we'll get to you. Hold on just a moment, please.
Yes, sir. Your name for the record? Hi, Miss Allen. And you at G&S, right? Yes. Okay, we've already had a public hearing. We don't need a public hearing this time. There shouldn't be any more discussion at all. This is strictly in front of the council. So I need a motion to adopt.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Good luck with your business. Thank you.
Excuse me. May I make a request? May I make a request?
Yeah.
I'd like to request a moment of silence for Mr. Willie Cook, who passed away 10 years ago this week, if I may.
Okay, thank you.
Thank y'all.
Doesn't seem like 10 years.
Sure doesn't. Item 4, application for retail beer and retail table wine off premises only, doing business as Gibson Food Mart at 2440 Lower Wetumpka Road.
You Representative Gibson?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Council, we already had a public hearing on this one. Anybody got any questions on this item? Need a motion? Whose district is this in? Whose district?
Tracy.
Oh, Tracy? I don't think we had any opposition on this. You just wasn't here last time. Can I have a motion on this? Would you go ahead and do it?
Sir, this is a change of ownership.
Motion to adopt.
Have a motion to adopt. All in favor, raise your hand.
Okay, I need everybody's hands again. But Mrs. Graham was saying something, ma'am.
Oh, I was just asking, was
Everybody
somebody on
up?
the phone about this one?
You got them?
I think it's
We had a public hearing
unanimous.
last time with this.
I think it's unanimous.
Unanimous, okay. Good luck with your business, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Item 5, application for lounge retail liquor class 2 package license, doing business as Club G's at 1187 West South Boulevard.
Okay, Representative of Club G&S. We had a public hearing on this one last time also, so it's before the council. Whose district is this?
This is
yours?
mine.
Okay. you
Mr.
got it.
President, this is my district. I just want to ask Chief Finley, did he get a chance? Have you gotten with Chief? Because I know we had a discussion about that.
Yes, sir.
They worked it out?
Good? You good with you?
Did you work it out, Chief?
Yes.
Okay,
You good?
good,
Okay,
good.
that's all I need to know. Need a motion?
Motion to adopt?
Have a motion to adopt. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Good
Resolution
luck
is
with your business,
adopted.
sir. Thank you.
Item 6, resolution respectfully and strongly encouraging mayor to issue executive order removing the curfew.
Ms. Calhoun, this is,
We're gonna withdraw that.
it is withdrawn, okay?
Item 7, ordinance granting a license to Billingsley Place Homeowners Association to construct, install, and maintain a gate at the entrance of Billingsley Place.
Move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
What is that?
Unanimous. He made a motion to suspend the rules.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Ordinance is adopted. Item 8, ordinance amending ordinance number 11-2020 to correct the legal description.
What's this about?
This is a zoning that the council did in the past. It was located at the corner of South Jackson and Centennial Way, and they were rezoning it in order to have loft apartment, salon, after-school care program. And it was adopted by the council, but planning control said that they'd left a large chunk of the legal description out.
Okay, so this is correct.
This is just correcting the legal
Okay.
description to be in line with the paperwork that y'all were provided.
Need a motion to suspend the rules.
Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Are you abstaining? Unanimous. Ordinance is adopted.
President,
Yep, hold on, Ms. Pruitt.
if it's okay with the council, I know Dr. Slisky's here tonight, and I meant to get in, and Ms. Brenda was going way too fast for me after old business. I wanted to see if it was okay with the council if we made if I made a motion to revisit the mask ordinance from last council meeting, if that would be okay with the council.
Why don't we, it won't
It's
take
it's
long
up
to
to
get
you.
through this. Huh?
We'll do it at the end.
We'll be through this. Yeah, we're gonna do it at the end anyway.
Okay.
I want to get through this. I'd like to get through this. Good. Item number 9.
Item 9, ordinance amending ordinance number 12-2020 and authorizing the issuance of a taxable general obligation
Betty.
warrant.
Anybody got any questions of Betty on this item? All we're doing is just rewording, I think, all it is. Need a motion to suspend the rules.
What we doing right here, Chuck?
Anybody got any questions on this item? Apparently not. Need a motion to suspend the rules.
Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Motion to adopt. Got a motion to adopt? All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Ordinance is adopted.
Thank you, Betty.
Thank you.
All right, number 10.
Ordinance adopting the Envision Montgomery 2040 Comprehensive Plan for the City of Montgomery and the 3-mile planning jurisdiction.
All right, Mr. Smith.
Yes, sir. Good evening, Mr. President, Council, Mayor. I'm Robert Smith, Director of Planning, here at the great city of Montgomery, Alabama's capital city. It's an honor, a pleasure, and a privilege to be here with you this evening. My department has had the responsibility of directing and managing the overall development of the city's comprehensive plan, which is called Envision Montgomery 2040 Comprehensive Plan. As you've heard, or you may not have heard, the City Planning Commission approved the draft plan unanimously, 9-0, all in favor on June 25th at their meeting. I want to personally thank them as your appointees, as planning commissioners, for the jobs that they do for the city, ensuring that every land planning decision that gets made is the best one and the right one for all land on the ground and throughout the city and its planning jurisdiction. Our primary reason for being here this evening is to present the final draft, updated and redone comprehensive plan, the Envision Montgomery 2040 Comprehensive Plan. We've had significant input into the planning process, with well over 1,000 citizens weighing in, and either through our community summit, which was held on the campus at Alabama State University and the Don Oliver Acadome, where we had nearly 600 people attend that meeting, or our open house here in this very auditorium, where we had 300 plus people attend, or in specific city council district meetings, where we went to all 9 city council districts and held those district meetings, soliciting input and comments via email, mail, telephone comments, or through the internet website, envisionmontgomery2040.org. That citizen input has garnered well over 3,000 comments, ideas, and overall input into the comprehensive planning process. A comprehensive plan is a long-term guide for future physical development of a city that considers input of citizens, businesses, and other stakeholders and covers a period of 20 years. It includes recommendations for future land use, community design and connectivity, open space and recreational areas, cultural and historical resources, infrastructure, and economic development. This has been a huge opportunity that we've had in developing and preparing our first citywide comprehensive plan for our city in over 55 years. 57 to be exact at this point in time, since our process has been going on for about 2 years at this point. Great cities, they don't just happen, they're well planned, and good meaningful planning facilitates and guides what happens on the ground in a city as well as in its written policy. I'd like to thank the mayor and the city council for agreeing to fund our comprehensive planning update effort. This is probably one of the best investment decisions that you could have made in agreeing to fund this plan, update, and overall redo. Next, I'd like to also recognize our Envision Montgomery 2040 Comprehensive Plan Steering Committee and all city staff for helping to steer and advise and guide the planning effort in the direction that it needed to go in. You'll see a list of those steering committee members and staffers in your draft comprehensive plan document. And lastly, I want to reiterate that the Envision Montgomery 2040 Comprehensive Plan is the first plan of its kind for our city in half a century. It will propel Montgomery boldly into its next chapter of growth and development for the next 20 years. Now it's time to see how our citizens' ideas and good professional planning and development judgment have come to life, and see how this will shape Montgomery over the next 20 years. Now I'd like to introduce a member of our planning consulting team, Mr. Kyle May, who's a senior planning with the urban planning consulting firm of Planning Next. Kyle will present our draft version of our comprehensive plan, Envision Montgomery 2040. And one last note I want to make as a reminder of general information. The city contracted through a competitive procurement selection process and selected Planning Next for a contracted dollar amount of $358,000 to do this work. And Planning Next is also doing similar comprehensive planning and implementation work in the cities of Tuscaloosa, the city of Mobile, the Baldwin County Commission, the city of Decatur, and the city of Anniston across the state of Alabama. Now I'm going to step back and ask Kyle May if he'll step in and make his presentation. And Kyle, he was actually here in person at the Planning Commission meeting on the 25th of June, but he could not make it here for safety reasons associated with COVID-19. Planning Next is based in Columbus, Ohio, and Kyle is actually on the WebEx with us, and Kyle is going to make the presentation from their office in Columbus. Kyle, I hope you can hear me, and I think we're ready to go. I think so. That sounded loud and clear. Talk as loud as you can.
Well, that's great, Robert. Well, thank you very much. Thank you, Council. Thank you, Mayor, for this opportunity to present what is, a big piece of work and a long time coming, both in terms of our process and in terms of the community overall. As Robert said, my name is Kyle May. I'm a senior planner with Planning Next. I've had the opportunity and the pleasure to meet a number of you in person, and I'm very sorry that this is how we have to meet as this thing concludes, but I'm grateful to have this opportunity to present part of this plan to you all this evening. Rather than go through page by page, over 250 of which the plan, I felt a higher level overview would help us to understand how we got here today and where I think this leads us in terms of a community and moving forward. If we can get that next slide. As Robert mentioned, we've been under this process here for quite a while. There's a lot that's gone into this work. There's been thousands of voices. But we really believe, not just Robert and I, not just the steering committee, but everyone that's been a part of Envision Montgomery, this is a pretty special moment in time for your city, a pretty unique moment as well. As Robert mentioned, we've had the opportunity to work with several other cities and communities around the state of Alabama. We know from their experience just what this can unlock in terms of a community is potential. Get the next slide, please. One more, please.
Next slide.
And one more.
All right.
I think we jumped forward. We got partnership. It's been a long road. Our first meeting was held back in February 22nd, 2018. That's over 866 days ago. It's been quite a while. You know, that involves hundreds of hours of community conversation over that period. We've had thousands of pages of reporting, whether it's through strategic analysis, whether it's through our community fact book or our various other products that we've developed through this work. Dozens of community meetings along the way. Over 11 community meetings with the steering committee, 50 plus member group that met throughout the process, several of which I know are represented there on the city council, and of course the mayor. 20 plus community meetings, not just in the center of Montgomery, but across all of the districts of this community. And then last but not least, 35 focus group discussions targeting some of the key issues that were going to arise as part of this process. And that's it. It's been a long process, and I mean it. Could you go to the next slide?
Yep, next slide.
And I mean that because that human being didn't exist. That's my son, Owen T. May, who was born during our process and is now a year and a half old as of a couple days ago. So it's been quite a long road. We've had a lot of engagement along this process and also done a lot of analysis along the way. Next slide, please. As Robert mentioned, quite a few people involved, 1,300 unique participants involved, 15 months of planning, 5,000 plus comments and ideas, priority project, 100 plus proposals, but ultimately one vision. Probably the hardest part of this whole work is filling down that vision for the community and how this place will move forward in united fashion. Next slide, please. As Robert mentioned, we began this work back in February. It's been a long road. You can go to the next slide. We met for a primary engagement session at the Athens and Alabama State University. I want to thank them once again for the use of their facility. Had the Alabama State Marching Band kick us off. Had a lot of fun along with that meeting, but also shared a tremendous amount of information with us. More than 3,000 comments alone came from that activity and some of the subsequent meetings along that road. You can cycle through these next slides. I just wanted to show a couple of pictures from that event. The Alabama State Band. Go ahead, please. Our trivia along the way. Next slide. Sharing ideas. Next slide. Ultimately, bringing all this work together in our open house in the same chambers they did tonight, where we shared our draft comprehensive plan with the community, and not just this night, but a subsequent touring of the plan. We started to get some sense around the priorities of the community. So at this point, we have about 100 plus proposals. But where do we really want to get started in Montgomery? You'll see that reflected in the draft, and you see the circles around community priority action. Those are things that came up were important to the community. Go to the next slide, please. There were some things that started to pop out as we asked the community about the future of Montgomery. Some words that those started to bubble at the top. For those of you that have been involved in vision construction, remember this word cloud, this graphic that represents some of the most resonant words, themes that came up in our program, whether it's about being progressive, inclusive, well-educated, unified. These words really resonated throughout the engagement. I hope they also resonate in the comprehensive plan. You go to the next slide, please. As we organize this work, it's really, as I mentioned, led by that vision statement overall, but also supported by several goals, measurable outcomes. The objectives will simple load out, but another important thing to point out is that it's not just about vision, it's not just about higher order goals, but also some actions. So proposals, projects, policies, programs, specific things that we believe can help move Montgomery toward that vision in the first year and in 20 years as well. Go to the next slide, please. We're taking a comprehensive view. You've not done a plan like this in 50, 70 years. There was a lot to begin with, a lot of work that had to go in developing some of the base analysis, some of the baseline understanding about what Montgomery is today, to then make an educated decision about where it could and perhaps should be in the future. But I'll let you know this is the top of the mountain view. It's a very important document, and remember that there's opportunity to zoom in. We try to, in some areas, zoom in as much as possible. But by taking the top of the mountain view on 168 square miles of your community, 200,000 plus people in the community, we're taking a wide swath. We also built off some of the existing neighborhood plans that are out there, some great planning work that you've done, as long as that work's not adjacent to work, but it actually helps us build on top of it. You go to the next slide, please. And some of those pillars that support that supporting people, our access amenities, our connections, of course our prosperity, and then obviously supporting our foundation as well. These 6 chapters really lead the way in terms of the comprehensive plan to organize 111 action proposals or recommendations to move the community progressively forward. Next slide, please. The steering committee is part of their work has some goals for the planning process, not just goals for the plan itself, but that this would be an aspirational document. You saw how many people were involved, and it would reflect the values of the community, it would have an impact, it would be measurable from year to year, and be able to be evaluated. We could realize the goals that are part of this work. And last, that the 1,300 people that participated, that doesn't close the door. This is a sticky and scalable effort that would hopefully become a movement over time, and more folks can join in Vision Montgomery as it is slowly but effectively realized. Next slide, please. I hope that we see, when you look at the action spread, there's a spectrum or a range of actions that have been proposed in this work. From those that really light the fire, those early wins, they're quick, they're expected, very expensive, but they can successfully engage our community, all the way up to those that we believe can start the movement and help take a leap forward as opposed to a single step and toward realizing that vision. Not all the same type of action, but they all, we believe, are going to move Montgomery in the right direction. Next slide, please. It's a process you've all begun here with this Division Montgomery. It doesn't stop today. With each year, with each 5-year increment, there's an opportunity to review your progress, and most importantly, report on some of those outcomes where you've had success, where you've had struggles, understand where you're making progress and where you're making a solid movement, plan to turn the next steps, and create a cycle where you're engaging the community, not just through this process, but really in an ongoing way, understanding through indicators and other tracking criteria about the progress you've made. Next slide, please. Final slide. From today and onward into 2040, it seems like a long way from now. But we believe that using the plan, we can really become a daily reference guide for the various departments, and not just inside City Hall, but across Montgomery, the reference point for where this community intends to go. And so many people have been involved, developing things like capital improvement plans in an ongoing way. We believe that monitoring is quite important for Robert and his team, and more broadly within City Hall, benchmarking and tracking your progress so you know the movement that's been made. And last, but certainly not least, we believe that planning is a sort of an addictive endeavor. Once you do it once, there's a need to update that. There's a need to check back in intermittent and in regular intervals to understand, what things you've accomplished and what things you still have yet to check off the list. So with that, I go to the final slide here, which is visionmontgomery2040.org, which has been our website throughout the process and will remain the website for the plan as we move into implementation and as the plan begins to be realized and we continue to report on the success we've had. But I just want to thank all of you for this opportunity to work with such a tremendous community and really tremendous people as well. And I turn that back over to Robert to deal with any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Robert.
Yes, sir.
I really, I don't know how many of the council members had an opportunity to be involved in this program. Lots of good information in this magazine, in this book. Lots of really good stuff. And so make sure in your reading time, sit down and read through and find there's a lot of good stuff in here. So money well spent.
Mr. Chairman,
Okay.
I'd like to, there were several of us that really pressed to get this 2040 plan.
Yes,
Robert, I'd like to commend you. Your staff did an unbelievable job putting all this together. There were times we couldn't meet. You still worked through that and found other times that we could get together. Thank you for your hard work.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank y'all for funding it.
I need a motion to suspend the rules on that.
Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Ordinance is adopted.
Very good, Robert.
Thank y'all.
Item number 11.
Resolution adopting the Public Transportation Agency Safety Plan.
Robert, is this your deal? Kevin Miller's. Oh, Kevin? Okay, Kevin. Okay. Ten words or less, Kevin.
Good evening. This plan is basically a plan for the M-Transit as required by the Federal Transit Administration through MAP 21 and the FAST Act. It requires the M-Transit to develop standards and policies to implement a safety program. And we are asking your approval for the plan to be in compliance with FTA.
Okay.
I got a question for Mr. Miller.
Okay.
And this is a little away from this. I had the chance to have a conversation with a young lady who said that someone was waiting on a bus to pick them up, and they didn't have masks on, and they couldn't get on a bus without a mask. Is it any kind of way we've been making masks available for people who may try to board the bus and don't have a mask, or?
Well, we have made, well, let me back up. We've made it mandatory that anybody that gets on the bus has to have a mask.
Right.
And that was implemented probably 2 months ago.
Okay.
At our intermodal center downtown, if folks are coming downtown and they don't have masks, we do have some available for them to get on.
Only there, but if they somewhere out of remote place catching it like from the mall or the Walmart,
No, ma'am, we don't
there are
have
no
any.
masks on the bus. Is that something we could do? Can we provide some masks for that? Okay, because
should
I
have some.
felt really bad about that when they was telling me about that somebody couldn't get on, but the young lady who was telling me had an extra mask and gave it to the person so they could get on the bus, and thank God they were there. But I just thought if we could have some on the bus, every now and then you run into people who need a ride. And,
Yeah, we can actually give, the problem we run into is that folks come daily. The same people come time and time again asking for masks. If we give each bus a certain number of masks, we have some available. We just don't have enough for everybody.
See that beautiful lady over there? She shook her head yes when I asked that question. Krista, she
You'll
gonna
have
take
some
care
more.
of
And she has given us
I'll
some.
give you have
but,
some more Monday, Friday.
Right.
We do have some available, so we will.
Okay, good.
Yes.
We just want people to be able to get where they're going and be safe.
Yes, ma'am.
Very good, okay. Need a motion to suspend the
Motion to
rules.
suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous,
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
unanimous.
Thank you for what you do.
And I will say that, unfortunately, this will be the last council meeting that I will attend. Friday is my last day here in Montgomery. I'm moving on to Volusia County, Florida, to be the general manager down in what most folks consider Daytona Beach, but it's actually Volusia County. So I want to say that it's been a pleasure working with you all these 14 years that I've been here. I tell folks all the time, I left Lynchburg, Virginia in high school, and this is the longest place I've been anywhere since I left high school. So I've enjoyed my time here and wish you all the well.
Thank you for your service,
Good
appreciate
luck.
you.
Congratulations.
Number 12.
Item 12, resolution authorizing a project agreement and related documents for the use and grant of public funds in the aid of Mountaintop USA Incorporated.
And this is the,
Good afternoon.
tell us about it.
Thank you for having me today. First off, my name is Shelby Stringfellow. I work for the Chamber of Commerce. We recruited this company here to Montgomery, and I want to thank members of the City Council and also to Mayor Reed. You all played a strategic role in our ability to recruit this company. Had it not been for you guys, I don't think we would be here today having this discussion. So starting off, this company, they will be located in East Montgomery in the county's industrial park. They'll be bringing 90 brand new jobs to Montgomery. The total capital investment will be $13.3 million. The resolution before you, or that will be before you in 2 weeks, will be to extend a cash incentive to provide $1,000 per job to this company. The incentive on the table before us is used to leverage a larger incentive that the state will be extending of $2.4 million. The state requires that before they are able to put any incentives forward, that the local host government has to have skin in the game as well.
Okay. This will be carried over to a vote next month?
Correct, yes, sir.
On the
The,
21st.
Public hearing will start tomorrow. Public notice will start running tomorrow.
Council, got any questions? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 13, resolution authorizing the issuance of an auto recovery service business license doing business as Tri-State Recovery.
Representative, that's you. Your name, sir, for the record?
Andrew Schaller.
Okay. Council, got any questions?
Yes, Mr. Schaller.
Yes, sir.
I noticed on your application you're not from Montgomery, so where will you be pulling those cars and where will you store them?
We've secured a location on Lower Wetumpka.
On Lower
So
Wetumpka.
we're requesting the issuance of the license to operate here, and then the inspection needs to happen on the building.
Okay.
And then they'll be stored just north of where we are now.
All right, thank you, sir.
Uh-huh.
Need a motion?
Move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Good luck with your business, sir.
Thank you.
Item 14, resolution authorizing Mayor Reed to make application to HUD for $994,449 in CBDG program coronavirus, $504,662 in emergency solicitation grants coronavirus funding.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council. What we're about to present to you is in response to additional funding that we received from the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development in response to the COVID-19 pandemic under the CARES Act. And for this particular year for COVID funding, we're asking the mayor to apply for $994,449 through the Community Development Block Grant Program, or what we call CDBG CV1, $562,000 for the Emergency Solution Grant Program, what we call ESG CV1. And you'll see also on your page, there's an additional funding amount that will be coming this fall of 2020 for an additional $1,258,634,000, what we call ESG CV2. And I put this on for the purpose that part of this funding will be used to fund part of the activities that we're currently proposing for you all to adopt. The projected project opportunities and accomplishment that we're seeing, and a lot of this was developed after careful and a lot of meetings with our agencies, with our sub-recipients that we deal with on a basis. And so it really required us to kind of respond to this pandemic funding in an emergency situation as fast as we can. And Susan's going to come up later with some things that will explain why we have to do this kind of at a fast pace. But what we see as opportunity is to establish, number one, to establish an emergency crisis center. We look to provide for COVID-19 testing and direction for treatment for vulnerable populations such as low income, domestic violence, Hispanic, LGBTQ, and homeless in our city. We also, in this program, hope with the homeless population that we'll be able to assist them in the process of while they're homeless, but to also assist them in having permanent housing. We also want to look at recruiting qualified housing agencies as a result of this program to help us strengthen our homeless program activities. We also looked at this program to assist the elderly population with nutritious meals through various feeding programs. We look to provide rehousing and eviction prevention assistance to those that are affected by the COVID-19. And we also hope to, after consulting with our GIS department, we also hope to collect and map our cases that we have in the city and to use that data to look at where the cases are declining, but also to give us an idea of where we may need to be concentrating our funds in the city. All of these funds are to be used for COVID-19 activities only. These are just additional funds to the funds that we get every year. On the next page, on slide 4, these are the activities that we are proposing to do. Activity 1 would be a COVID-19 testing and tracking program. Project Activity 2 would be a COVID-19 elderly feeding program. Project 3 would be establishment of a temporary crisis center. Project 4 would be rapid rehousing homeless prevention program. Project Activity 5 would be homeless shelter support and homeless management information system. And Project Activity 6 would be COVID data mapping using GIS. And the first project will be, as I mentioned earlier, previously, the COVID-19 testing, tracking, and COVID-19 education. And our proposed partner for this particular activity will be Health Services, Inc. And what they have proposed for us to help them purchase is a medical mobile unit. And the purpose of this medical mobile unit would be to go into the low-income areas throughout the city and do testing inside the different communities in the city. And the projected testing there will be basically all of the low-income areas in the city of Montgomery. And this proposed funding will be funded with CDBG CV1. And the proposed amount that they're requesting are $443,612. Or $443,612. Just a brief overview how Activity 1 will work. Basically, they'll provide COVID testing to the patient at no cost. They will advertise the COVID program, informing the public about their different testing site and location. They will assign a nurse practitioner and a registration clerk on the hotline team to give people who want information about the COVID program, and also provide telemedicine if necessary. Right now, the days that we'll look at testing will be primarily Tuesday, Wednesdays, and at fixed locations, and sometimes on Saturdays. But they will recruit a full-time COVID-19 testing team, which will consist of a nurse practitioner, 2 medical assistants, and 2 registration clerks. Upon arriving at a testing site, basically the patient will be given a mask, and they'll be given a listing of all the SHA sites, testing location, phone numbers, and testing site instructions. Test results will be available generally in about 2 to 5 days, and at that point, HSI or either the Alabama Department of Public Health will give them additional information as to what they need to do afterwards, particularly if they test positive. Our results from the COVID test is reported to ADPH, who has the staff to conduct contact tracing. On page 7 is kind of give you an overview of the area of the map in the city that we'll be doing the testing in. And it's primarily the track 25, 14, 16, 6, 11, 12, and 5902. And these are primarily the low-mod income tracts as determined by HUD, where we would actually conduct this program activities. The call for this program, well, ironically, as we discussed putting this program, and I slid this in today, there's been a big call nationwide to do COVID testing throughout the country, particularly in the low-income areas, and particularly for African Americans. I'm sure all of y'all have been watching MSNBC and all the other network news on COVID testing. It appears that it's the African American community that is suffering the most from this disease, whether it's getting disease or actually dying disease. And throughout this whole progress, it appears that Montgomery has been, and the state of Alabama has been mentioned a lot on the national news, on the national stage, about the rate that we're getting the COVID disease. So this is an opportunity to put a plan, implement a plan that we have sat down and talked about, and try to get a handle on the disease, and try to get localized data so we can actually see what is actually happening in our community. The problem that I see with a lot of the data that we're collecting, there's so much data out there, and it's changing so fast. It's really hard for the average person to really sit down and kind of comprehend that data and make an interpretation. So part of what we want to do is get the data, map it, simplify it, so we can make clear-cut decisions based on the data that we have. And you'll see some COVID statistics on page 9. Ironically, for Montgomery, we have the highest case, and this is pulled July 3rd. And I know this data is changing every minute, but as of July 3rd, Montgomery has the highest cases of COVID per 100,000 cases. And even though we have less cases, but we're getting it at a much faster rate than a lot of people or a lot of counties in the state. And also includes some statistics of around the city of Montgomery or around Montgomery County. This may be an opportunity also to talk to our neighboring mayors and neighboring local governments, because we do have a lot of people coming in, working in Montgomery from these surrounding counties. And maybe this set the stage on developing some policies and program as to how, as a regional area, how do we combat this disease together? Because whether you live here or whether you live there, you may be bringing it here or you may be getting it here and taking it back to another county. But this gives us the opportunity to sit down and talk about, how do we develop a regional plan addressing this particular issue? And also I put some information on why it is important to test racial and ethnic minority groups. We know one problem that we have here in the city of Montgomery, particularly dealing in a low-income area. We have high-density areas where you have a household that may have 5, 6 to 7 to 10 people in a household, and it's kind of hard to do social distance, but we're still going to have to figure out how do we work with those types of families and what type of policies and practices that we can come up with to work with those type of families. We have situations, a lot of households where we have a lot of young kids, and which is now seen to be the highest category of COVID contact, that have a lot of elderly grandparents or elderly adults also living in the house with them. Another issue that's affected the COVID virus, particularly, is essential workers and essential industries. A lot of people don't have sick leave or the ability not to miss work. So, that's also, a lot of people are going to work sick. Just to put it in plain, simple English, there are people who cannot afford to miss their work, and even knowing maybe that they or not that they have the virus, they're going to work anyway and spread it to other people. And the other part of it is health circumstances. We have a situation right now, our latest house that we're trying to repair, her home, we're trying to put her in a living assisted facility, and she can't get in because she's testing over 100 degrees with a temperature. So we're trying to figure out how to get health care for her. But this program will allow us, in some extent, to help people get the access to the health care that they need. And on page 11 is kind of a picture of what the mobile unit will look like. Very modern. It'll look just like going into an actual doctor's office. The second program is a COVID-19 elderly feeding program, and the proposed partner for this will be the Montgomery Area Council on Aging. And we sat down and talked with them, and they have a very wide outreach program that can reach the elderly population throughout the city. And the elderly population is also a presumed category of low-income citizens. So we've talked with them, and we're going to work with them on getting to that part of the population that can't get out and get healthy, nutritious food. Activity 3, establishment of a temporary crisis center to prevent and prepare for and response to the COVID-19 pandemic. And let me step back a little bit and say that a lot of this is preparing for the fall crisis. All the reports are indicating and seem to be on track that we're going to, I don't even think we're out of the first wave yet, but a lot of reports saying that we're going to have an even harder second wave along with the flu that's going to be on top of this. But the establishment of the crisis center, the proposed partners for this will be Mid-Alabama Coalition for the Homeless and Friendship Mission. And the request for the funding for this item is support for staff, food, supplies for operating a temporary crisis center. And it's also to serve in emergency situation, overflow crisis centers for when the shelters run out of capacity to actually house people. But the initial function of it is to actually, to help the homeless population or to help the homeless shelter. Part of the problem that they're having is that when people come to their shelters, it's difficult for them to tell if they have COVID or not. And what we're going to work with them, and along with SHI and some other partners, is to actually try to test them before they go to the shelter. If they test positive, they will go to this shelter and quarantine for 14 days. It is not designed to be a homeless shelter. It's designed to be just for quarantine. And also, they will also be assigned a caseworker that will work with them in getting to the services that they need. But eventually, after quarantine at the crisis center, they will be put back into one of the local shelters in the community.
How quick can you get started on this, though, with this? From up here.
What? Right there, generate.
How quick can we get started with this? I mean, we're talking, but by the time you get the money, will it be, when will you be able to get started? Could you get started in 2 weeks, 6 months,
It'll be anywhere from about 2 to 3 weeks.
2 to 3 weeks?
After these 3 items on the agenda, we have to send all the documents over to HUD for them to release the funds. It'll take about 2 weeks to do that.
And then you can get started in 2 weeks.
And
Okay.
where's this
Well,
location?
let's press on, okay?
Where's the location at for the temporary shelter crisis center? Where is that again? You got a map?
That will be the, Floyd, the old Floyd
Okay, I see a
school.
couple dots on there. So
And we've already talked with the Board of Education, the superintendent, and, because it's empty right now. It has practically 2 new buildings that we can use for actual, one for isolation, one for sheltering if we have to. It has shower facility. In the main building, it has a full-service cafeteria that we can be able to have public meetings, cook food, and be able to serve them. But it's not designed for them to stay here long-term, because what happens is once they get into the system, they will be assigned a full-service counselor that's going to work with them and getting them back into the system or getting them to the next state or whatever the situation is at the bar. But the overall goal is to get them into permanent housing. And this is what HUD wants us to do. Rather than, we're hearing a lot of cities are putting them in hotel. They're asking us not to put them in hotel, but to get them from being homeless into a permanent housing type situation.
Well, sounds like a good plan. We need to press on with this. And Council, you got any questions so far of what's going on? And I think you got the funding numbers here where you're going to fund everything. And we got an ordinance, a resolution in front of us. You got a point to it on the same.
That's what the next item on the agenda is, 14.
Okay, yeah, that's all the funding.
Yes, that's just a list of what Desmond just went through.
And I think we're all familiar with all the different Friendship Mission, Temporary Crisis Center, Family Sunshine, Friendship Mission, Salvation Army gets some money.
Right.
Mid-Alabama, Hands-On Region, yeah, all these are health services, yeah.
The top table is Community Development Block Grant funds, and the bottom table is all of the emergency shelters receiving funds.
Did you pass that out?
Okay, y'all are discussing item 15. We're still on 14. We haven't voted on it. Is that
Yeah, we got to
correct?
go to 14 first, yeah.
This is the document.
14's got the expenditures on it.
Yeah, this is 14.
15's got another deal, okay?
Well, we haven't voted on 14 yet.
No, we haven't. We got to vote on 14. Let's go to 14. You're on 14 right now.
This is what
I
you
need a
have
motion
for
to suspend the
14.
rules on 14.
It's basically at a glance what Desmond just said.
Yeah.
Motion to
Of all
suspend
the
the rules.
agencies.
I have a motion to suspend the rules on 14.
President, I
All in
got a
favor, raise your hand.
I have a question.
Okay.
Desmond, I know we talked about item 14, and we got 2 numbers on there, but I know the thing you passed out had the $1.2 million on there. Is that on here somewhere, or that's
No.
something that's going to come
We
later?
don't have those, we will not have those funds until HUD makes them available. And those funds will only be for emergency shelters,
Okay.
not community development block grant projects. They will only be available for shelters for the homeless
And
population.
this is all out of the COVID money.
We'll come back.
Okay,
Just
we got you.
voting on that.
All right, we got a motion suspended.
Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous?
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
All right,
Resolution
going to
is
15 now.
adopted.
Okay, moving on.
Item 15, resolution authorizing amendments to city's fiscal year 2019 action plan.
This is the document that you have. Because the cost to run the temporary crisis center is high, we are taking some leftover funds from a couple of projects and adding those to the temporary crisis center. The total figure for the crisis center that we plan to put out is the $308,000 figure on the table with the blue. That includes this money here,
Okay,
okay?
we know you have to go by the book.
I got a question.
Yes,
We had $91,000 left from the 2019 budget.
Yes. We had one organization that did not spend all of their funds, and we had leftover admin when Desmond got his promotion. And the only way we can use that admin money is to put into a project. And that's what we're doing, putting it into the temporary crisis center.
Sounds good.
we need all the money we can get for this crisis
understand.
center, I promise.
We got you. Okay, anybody, any more questions?
All that.
Need a motion to suspend the
Motion to
rules?
suspend the rules.
On 15, all in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Good work. That'll be a great help to the city. Thank y'all.
16, resolution authorizing amendments to city's citizen participation plan.
This document,
Has to participate, okay.
this
Draft.
document had to be amended to allow for just what we talked about. HUD was generous to give us many waivers. One of them was to go from a 30-day comment period down to a 5-day. It also released the 20% cap that is normally placed on CDBG funds to no cap. And that is why we were able to fund all of the public service activities we were proposing in our coronavirus funds. So basically, that just says that we had to amend
You have
our
to amend your
plan to
book. You
allow
have to
for
amend
that.
your plan. Right, understand.
Motion to suspend the rules.
Have a motion to suspend the rules. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is
Very
adopted.
good job, as you always do.
Thank you, council. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 17, application for a lounge retail liquor Class 2 package license doing business as Highlands Package Store, 2714 Highland Avenue.
Representative Highlands Package Store, please. Yes, ma'am. Your name for record?
Preeti Patel.
Okay. This is a public hearing. Anyone would like to speak against this item, please come forward. We have anybody on the phone? I have one here. Hold on. I have one person here first, then on the phone. We'll get that one second. Yes, sir. Come forward, please.
Except the fat folks.
Over to the mic.
How y'all doing?
Hey, what's up?
My name is Jamal Thomas, and I'm a citizen of District 3. And I'm against that, that liquor store is in District 3 on Highland Avenue that they're trying to build. And I'm against it being built because it's already around the corner from a tobacco store on Ann Street. It's a half a mile away from there. It's a 2-minute drive. It's a 2-minute drive and a 9-minute walk. I know I was at the council meeting when they were trying to build a liquor store in the gas station in the Cloverdale neighborhood. And the Cloverdale Neighborhood Association, they came and spoke up, and they said the same thing. It's an already liquor store in the same vicinity. And the liquor store the package store on Ann Street is in the same distance away from the one they tried to open up on Cloverdale and other people than the one on Highland Avenue. They called that store on Highland Avenue the Murder Mart because a lot of crime happens over there, a lot of people get killed over there, a lot of drug activity over there. The beer and wine is okay, but if somebody wants liquor, they can go around the corner, drive 2 more minutes, or walk 9 minutes to the tobacco store, package store on Ann Street, so I'm against it. And this is my district, and I live in it, so I'm speaking for my citizens, and I'm speaking for my councilman because he's not here.
Okay. We have someone on the phone before. Yes, yes. Okay. Okay, thank you very much. We understand you're against it.
There's another person.
Another one online? I'll take that. Second caller, please. Yes.
I live in District 3 as well, and I echo the sentiments of Marcia Johnson and Jamal Thomas. We do not need another store like that in this area. I live in this district. There are already issues that they listed. This is not going to bring value to the community. The position of the salesman already said, as Marcia said, if you can improve this, it doesn't add to the value of the neighborhood. So certainly allow me like to benefit citizens in this area. And I ask the council to vote no.
So you're a no? You're against it, okay, very good. Thank you very much. Okay, we have one other person wants to speak. Have anybody else on the phone? Can you tell?
Say your name again. Say your name again, please.
I'm Shirley Gilbert, and I live in District 3. I'd also like to go on record and strongly oppose that liquor store being on Highland Avenue.
Thank you very much.
Concur with what the others have already said. Hello? It will not enhance
Okay.
our community at all.
Do we have anybody on the line that's for this item? Anybody for it?
My name is Annette Peck, and I concur with the women that spoke also in District 3. I am against that liquor store. It is a breeding haven for crime.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, have one other person you want to speak on this item?
Yes, sir. Mr. Jenwright, my name is Ernest Claybon. I'm also a member of District 3. I'm against it. Last time this council approved a liquor store, it was on Ripley Street, right by the Quick Pawn Shop, and the area has gone down. Meat City has now moved away, and we've got more vagrants in the area now because of a liquor store. If it's one more thing we need in District 3, it's not a liquor store. Our councilman is not here, so in good conscience, I don't think any of the councilmen here should approve it, because District 3's councilman hasn't been here for a while. We're not in favor of it, and it does not need to pass. Thank you, Mr.
Very
President.
good, thank you very much. I declare the public hearing's been held before the council. Council members, you got any questions on this item?
I got a question.
Yes, ma'am.
In here it says that you own another business, the Highland Meat and Groceries, is that correct?
Yes.
Have you paid your, got your your license for that, business license? Because it said that you hadn't, we got a report here, it says that you hadn't got one for this year, and you owe $3,700. I don't know if I can say that.
No,
I'm not supposed to say
no,
that. I'm sorry.
say that.
But you owe money on that. Have you taken care of that? You don't know?
Okay.
Betty can answer that.
Anybody got any?
Somebody.
Yeah, I have a vote, have a motion to suspend the rules on this item.
Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Who made the motion? Okay.
Mr. Mitchell?
Suspend the rules on this?
I need to see the hands again.
Motion to suspend the rules?
Motion to suspend rules.
Motion to suspend the rules, we got one.
Mr. Calhoun, are you not voting?
I'm not voting.
That's going to be one, it's
Okay,
6
carry it
with
over.
1 abstention.
Okay. Motion carries over for 2 weeks.
Okay,
You like to come back in 2 weeks, see what happens.
okay.
Item 18, application for retail beer and retail table wine off premises only, doing business as Lions Pride at 3894 South Court Street.
All right. Lions Pride on South Court Street. You represent them too?
18 and 19 is me.
I can't hear you.
18.
Pull the mic down.
Pull the
where you
mic
are.
down. Pull the mic down.
Pull the mic down close to you, okay?
18 and 19 me.
Okay, very good. This is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak against this item, please come forward. Anybody online? She's waiting on 7. 17's over.
17 has been carried over to the next meeting.
Looking for number 18. We're on number 18 now. Anybody on number 18? Hearing none, declare public hearing's been held. Truck for the council. Motion from the council, please.
Mr. President, I have a question.
Okay, you can ask a question, yeah.
I think 18, I think we need to carry over because there's some outstanding things here.
Is there? 18, you got, is that the one? Okay, well, do it.
Let's carry over.
That's all suspend, you're not going to suspend the rules, carry it over. Okay? Very simple. 18 will be carried over.
Okay. Item 19, application for retail beer and retail table wine off premises only, doing business as Lions Pride at 904 West Edgemont Avenue.
You got all the lines, Pride?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. All right, number 19. This is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak against this item or for this? You got anybody on the phone for the number 19? Please identify. Nobody on 19?
I don't hear anybody.
Okay. None.
I don't
Carry
hear
that over. Okay, I declare the public hearing's been held. This item will be carried over to the next meeting. Item number 20.
Application for retail beer and retail table wine off premises only, doing business as Lions Pride at 3345 Harrison Road.
This is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak on this item?
I need his name, sir.
Yes, sir, your name.
My name is Pragnesh Patel.
Okay. This is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak against this item, please come forward or on the phone. We don't have anybody on the phone? Okay. I declare the public hearing's been held before the council.
All right. Motion to suspend the rules.
Have motion to suspend rules. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Hey, Mr. President. Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
Hey, you think on item number 18, we went past, and I was talking with Mr. Pruitt on something. I think Ms. Patel needs to know what she needs to do and what the situation is.
It was
with
carried
our
over
ordinance.
because the rules
So
were not
if she
suspended.
could just get with our finance people to find out what your situation is to try to get that rectified before you come back in 2 weeks. You understand? Okay. Thank you.
Item 21, application for retail beer and retail table wine off premises only, doing business as Circle K at 2906 Atlanta Highway.
All right.
Good evening, Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
Saxon, Maine, here on behalf of CSC on this project. It's for.
All right, I need, this is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak against this item, please come forward or speak up on the phone.
We're on
Hearing
21.
none, I declare the public hearing's been held. It's brought before the council. Councilman, a motion?
Move to suspend the rules.
Have motion to suspend the rules. All in favor, raise your hand.
Okay.
Okay, but you're voting to suspend the rules. That's what we're on right now. Unanimous.
Okay.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
7 with 1 abstention.
1 abstention.
Resolution is adopted.
Good luck with the business. Done, Saxon. Good.
Thanks, sir.
Yes, sir.
We've got
22.
22 and 23 too, Your Honor.
You got 22 also?
Item 22, application for retail beer and retail table wine off premises only, doing business as Circle K at 2909 East South Boulevard.
This is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak against this item, please come forward or speak up on the phone.
Yes, where is this located on the Southern Boulevard?
East South Boulevard, 2909 East South Boulevard.
Is that in our district, Councilman Mitchell?
It's an existing business.
That's an existing business.
Yes.
This is in your district?
Yeah.
Okay. Councilman, you okay with it? All right. I declare the public hearing's been held. It's brought before the council. Need a motion?
It's the old,
What?
Yeah.
it's an old section that's being.
Hey, move to suspend the rules, Mr. Jim Wright.
Have motion to suspend the rules. All in favor, raise your hand.
No, hold on. I had some, I'm gonna table this.
You gonna hold it?
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm
wait.
gonna hold this. I'm gonna hold this.
Okay, you're gonna hold this over, okay.
I'm gonna hold this.
You want to tell Mr. Maine?
Item 23, application for retail beer and retail table wine off
You got
premises only,
23 also?
doing
Sir,
business as
we'll get
Circle
together.
K at 5101 Vaughn Road.
Brandon, hold on. What were you saying?
I'm gonna table number 22. I did have some calls on number 22, so I will get with him so I can get with my neighborhoods association.
Okay, number 23. Saxon, you got this one too?
I just wanted to make sure we understood what the property was. It's an old
It's in front of the mall.
station it's on
Yeah,
the
in front of
boulevard by the mall.
Yes, I know exactly where it is.
We just repurpose it.
Yes, sir.
Same services.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
This is a public hearing. Anyone wants to step forward if they're against this item or on the phone? Hearing none, I declare the public hearing's been held. It's brought before the council. Need a motion?
Move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
CC?
Yeah, I'm cool.
Unanimous. Resolution
Thank
is
you.
adopted.
Thank you for your time.
Item 24, application for retail beer and retail table wine off premises only, doing business as Quick Serve at 6890 Vaughn Road.
Representative Quick Serve on Vaughn Road. Hi. Your name for the record?
Kim Reza.
Okay. This is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak against this item, please come forward or speak up on the phone. Hearing none, I declare the public hearing's been held. It's brought before the council. Glenn, is this yours?
Yes, sir.
Need a motion to suspend the rules?
Move to suspend the rules.
Have a motion to suspend the rules. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous?
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Good luck with your business, ma'am.
Item 25, resolution approving Sandy Thompson to the Montgomery Clean City Commission.
Need a motion to suspend the rules. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous?
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. 26, resolution reappointing Frank Brown to the Housing Authority.
Mr. McGinnis,
Motion to suspend the rules.
all in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous?
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. 27, resolution assessing the cost of abatement of unsafe structures on various lots.
Need a motion to uphold.
Motion to uphold.
All in favor, raise your hand.
We need to suspend the rules on this one.
Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand. On 28?
Unanimous.
Motion
No,
to
we're on
uphold.
27.
Oh, I'm sorry, we got him 27. 27 wasn't printed. All right.
We're-
Okay, sorry. Got ahead of myself.
Okay, we got the vote on the suspension. I need a
Yes,
motion
suspend
to
the rules.
adopt.
Suspend the rules on 27.
We've already
folks.
voted on that one. I need a motion to adopt.
All right, now, all in favor?
Motion to
Did you
adopt.
get your vote for adopt? You got
Motion
it?
to
You got
adopt,
your
Mr.
votes? Okay.
Mr. Bollinger.
All right, now we're 28,
Seven.
right?
Item 28, pursuant to Section 1153B1 Code of Alabama, authorization of demolition of unsafe structures at the listed location.
Need a motion to uphold?
Motion to uphold.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Item 29, resolution declaring, authorizing, and assessing cost of abatement of public nuisances on various lots.
Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Okay, we've got the
Mr. Pruitt's,
expenditures, and then we'll be through, then we can go to,
well, we need to do the ordinance before we
just do this, then we go straight
Okay.
into the
Okay.
master, okay?
You want to do the expenditures first?
I'll do the expenditures.
Okay, I've put before you, the mayor has approved for District 1, 1,000 to Mercy House. Mr. Mayor, I've had one more request from District 1. This is for $1,000 for Arrowhead Neighborhood Association. They are a vendor.
They're good.
For District 2, 1,500 to Mercy House. District 5, 1,000 to Mercy House. District 7, 500 to Mercy House. District 8, 1,000 to Carriage Hills Neighborhood, 1,000 to Brighton Estates Neighborhood Association, 1,000 to Bell Chase Neighborhood Association, 1,000 to Bell Station Neighborhood Association, 1,000 to Greater Bell Road Neighborhood Association, and 1,000 to Faith Outreach Ministries.
Okay,
Motion
anybody
to-
got anything else? Is motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Mr. Calhoun, unanimous.
Okay, all right. Mr. Pruitt,
Mr. President, Ms. Blaylock passed out to you guys the ordinance that we voted on
We have
3
not.
weeks ago.
I gave it to you. I laid it up on your counter.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you
We don't
passed
have
them
it.
all out. I'm
No,
sorry.
sir.
I'm sorry. Clay's passing down the line the ordinance that we had in our hand 3 weeks ago. What I would like to do is make a motion for us to reconsider that, and then I believe Councilman Calhoun has some amendments or an amendment that he would like to make to this.
okay, have a motion to reconsider.
Mr. President, I'd like to wait on Mrs. Graham to return. Could we hear from, we have a couple of people that's here in the audience that wants to talk about this ordinance if it's proper, but she's coming back now before we move to reconsider.
Okay.
Thank you. Hold up.
She can hear now, can
She can vote from there?
No, she
Okay.
can't, not until she's seated. Not
Gotta be
until she's
seated.
seated.
I knew that. I got the mic to talk in when I'm talking to the audience. When I'm talking to her, I'm talking to her where I want to talk.
So with the,
You out of order,
with
sir.
the,
You are out of order.
with everybody having the ordinance in front of them, I'd like to make a motion to reconsider, Mr. President.
Okay. All in favor, raise your hand. Reconsider this one,
Yeah, that's the way you gotta do it, and he's gonna make an amendment. Not this one, Brantley. It's gonna be an amendment to it. No, he's gonna make a new amendment.
You got amendments to this, okay?
This is
Unanimous.
This is not gonna be any of it.
All right.
It's unanimous to reconsider.
Okay.
Mr.
All right,
President, I'm
now,
gonna offer a
Mr.
substitute.
I
Calhoun,
need to make a motion to adopt first.
Yeah. Go ahead, Nick.
Make a motion to adopt.
Now,
Now, motion to
substitute.
substitute the amendment. And I think you said that, I want to thank the mayor's office and the staff for helping with this, Stacy and your team. We sent this out an email, passed it out. We had some comments from each council person about what their concerns were. And the legal team and the policy writers, they kind of answered some of those questions. So we have some questions that we want to discuss at this time on this reconsider on the amendment, the substitute, brother, at this time. And I also, Mr. President, the wheels of the council, I invited Dr. Salacy and a good friend of mine, Mr. Will Carter, to come up and speak on this before we vote. If anybody had any questions about how this affects Montgomery County and the city.
I think we, well, let's say if you got questions, let's do that.
Okay,
Because I
let's
think
do
we've all heard enough. We know the story, okay? And, but I think questions would be in order from all of our council members that have questions. I particularly have a question. My first question is, we have 60,000 people coming in Montgomery every day. We put this ordinance in place for the city of Montgomery. There's 60,000 people coming to Montgomery every day to work. We've got another problem outside, and I think the medical society in this city should work on the counties outside, because we're not just, everybody don't live right here. They're living in Elbow County and Tarleton County, all these counties around, and they're bringing folks to the city. And I think that's another problem that we're having, that we're dealing with on a daily basis that we need to address. I know we got cities one thing, but the counties, we're actually counting as a county, not as a city. And so I'd like to see somebody at this point in the medical society work on those people out there to try to make that happen too, because I think if you're going to solve the problem, and my situation is, let's solve the problem. Let's not just throw something up and try to fix it. Let's solve the problem. I look at Birmingham today, and I look at what's happening in Birmingham, and their numbers are going up, and they've had a mask on for a month. And now that I understand the county is actually putting something in the county of Jefferson County now, which probably could help a lot. But I would like for the medical group that are looking at this to really look at the surrounding counties too. That's my question. Has anybody talked about that? Have y'all had any discussion?
Well, actually, I'm not from the medical community. I'm here as a citizen of Montgomery.
Okay.
Just,
so you're just a Montgomery
get my
person?
input. Yes, sir.
I know the doctor back there is
yes,
it
the
not,
doctor
I think
is,
that I
they
talked
allow
to
me
your
to
partner,
speak
Dr.
first.
Dr.
Okay.
Thrasher, and Dr. Thrasher seemed to think that we need a bigger spread too. Yeah.
Oh, well, actually, again, I'm Will Carter, and I am the first COVID patient, not in the city of Montgomery, but the state of Alabama.
Yeah.
And I just want to let you all know, I think what the council is doing, putting a recommendation in, and the mayor, I think is outstanding, because I beat the virus, but I'm still here. But nothing
Good
makes
for you.
me more sad than going to these stores and see people without these masks. I'm thinking about the impact it has on them, taking it home to their loved ones, whether it's kids from 5 to 6 years old to the elderly. But this thing, this COVID-19, is real. If it could affect me, it could affect everyone. So I think the more safety measures we have in place to prevent it, I watch the news every day. It's not going anywhere. I can't speak for the medical community, but I can speak as a citizen. And let me tell you, it's no fun sitting in the hospital for 8 days without being able to see or talk to your loved ones. So
Let me ask you.
Anything we could do to something simple as wearing this mask.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
You got it.
I had
And the last
yes.
meeting we had here, we were talking about that 90% of the cases are coming to the African American community. Okay, how do we get that word across that this is deadly, this is bad stuff? How do we get that across? Because people like yourself continue to get it.
Like talking to the medical community, because I tell you, I was in Baptist East for 8 days, and I tell you, those are the most professional people I've done with. And we talk about first responders, but those frontline workers that saved my life. And I think by the public, by listening to the doctors in our medical community, they can help save your lives. And instead of looking at Montgomery, I guess we have 4,000 some cases right now, 182 last 2 weeks. I would like to see us flatten the curve and see those numbers go down, because I have an 18-year-old son that he's impacted by it because mom and dad like, nope, you can't go out and do this. I thought the curfew was great.
Well,
with the
I'm glad to see that you overcame it and you look
Yes.
strong today.
Yes,
Doctor, could we have you please? Let
sure.
let the doctor come up.
But the
The
doctor,
doctor knows more about this. He's in the middle of the firing squad.
yes, he knows more than I about it, but I have lived it, so I just wanted to let you all know. I just think it's important that you guys consider passing the ordinance about wearing a mask and everything. Because again, I go to grocery stores since the last 2 or 3 weeks since the mayor put this in place. I think it's wonderful, but before that, you go in the stores and you see people not social distancing, not wearing a mask, just something as simple as this. It keep you protect yourself against them and vice versa. So it's a respect thing. So I think if everybody just wear the mask, it's not. And if you go to stores, you're not lingering. Just go in and get what you need, get in, get out, then get back to your car so you can take the mask off. But again, I just wanted to CC to give me the opportunity to just share how important it is to wear by wearing a mask and everything. Because I think it could prevent everyone's loved ones from going. Because once you go in the hospital, there's no going to see them. So
Right, that's good.
That's a sad thing. So
Proud to
the
see
virus
that
is
you
not
made
going
it.
anywhere.
Proud of it. Thank you,
That's
sir.
all.
Thank
That's
you
all
for
I
being
have.
here.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Will.
Thank you for being here. Doctor, I know you've been sitting here all day, but we've heard you talk about this, and we understand the situation. And I think maybe some questions on the council for you, please. Any questions? Mr. Brantley or Mr. Lyons or anybody else got a question of the doctor? I really, truly believe my direction on this whole thing is I think we've got to do something. 61,000 people coming to Montgomery, and in the report, the 2040 report this afternoon, that's a big indicator of what's happening in the city of Montgomery. And those people are coming here every day. I've got 4 friends that got it right now, have had it, or in the last month. And I know they're being exposed to folks outside the county, okay? And I know that's on a daily basis because of their employment. And I think that's where we got to really look at that hard, because we can do it here and make a statement, but I don't think we're going to make a stop.
Well, Mr. Jean-Wright, I appreciate you saying that, but first and foremost, we have to clean up our own house. I was here a month ago, and I thought this would be a slam dunk to this group, and unfortunately it was not. So I'm back again to talk about cleaning up our own house. You seem to be worried about the people around us. Well, worry about your own house first, Mr. Jean-Wright, okay? All right, hold on. Let me speak. I've been waiting an hour and a half to speak. So let me speak, okay? Thank you. So the mayor had enough foresight to pass an ordinance despite you guys not passing that. And when I spoke last time, we had over 100 cases per day in Montgomery County, 100 a day. Today we're down to 52 a day, okay? How did that happen? That happened with wearing a mask. That happened with education. That happened with the medical society that you want me to go to the outside counties to, our medical society. What we did was we went to the pastors, we went to the community boards, we got on TV. You know, the likes of WSFA was nice enough to get us on TV to talk about this. That's how you do this, through education, okay? It's our right. You talked about civil rights last time, Mr. Lyons. Well, it's our right to protect ourselves, okay? I may sound a little bit like this because I'm so angry that I'm sitting here waiting to talk to you people about this, but this should be a slam dunk, Mr. Bollinger, Mr. Lyons, Mr. Jean-Wright, to vote for this mask ordinance. It's a no-brainer. We were ahead of the curve a month ago. Now the rest of the country realizes that wearing masks, get away from the political nonsense. Wearing masks is what makes us less vulnerable, okay? If you can't even figure that out, then the rest of this, like this these policies you want to put in going into the communities will not work. Will not work. Okay, we're doing fine. Our hospitals are ahead of the curve. We're doing great. The numbers are going down. What's happening is the numbers are peaking because the young people are out and about, and whether they're wearing masks or not, that's another story, okay? But the older people are understanding to wear masks, and the ones that are most vulnerable are not coming into the hospitals as much anymore. Our death rate is down, okay? So this is a community effort. You guys were voted in to protect your constituents. Now, damn it, protect them. Okay, vote for this. Shame on the three of you for not voting this last time. So I'm not coming back here again, and I'm hoping this time you'll do the right thing. All right, questions?
I got a comment.
I do tend to err on the side of caution. I mean, when I go in the stores and they're busy, I do wear a mask. But I also read a lot of literature out there that contradicts, you know, the effectiveness of some of these masks that y'all suggest we wear, like the cloth mask. And this is not my words, this is something I read today from Dr. Simone Gold from USA Today, June 24th. The pore size of a cloth mask coverings range from 20 to 100 microns. The COVID virus is 200 to 1,000 times smaller than that, 0.1 microns. Putting up a chain link fence will not keep out a mosquito. Even the most esteemed medical journals admit their purpose is to calm anxiety. Expanding masking protocols' greatest contribution may be to reduce the transmission of anxiety. Those are his words. Those aren't mine.
Right. So that's one person's words amongst the rest.
I was asking you simply about, somebody else was asking about the effectiveness of a cloth mask versus the pleated mask versus an N95 mask. I was simply asking you, were there any peer studies out there about the social distancing? You said they were.
Yes.
And you would give us all the copy of it. And that
Well,
was
gee,
it for me.
you know, I'm sorry, Mr. Lyons. I guess I was just too busy taking care of the patients in the hospital to get back with you. I'm sorry. But it looks like you got that one particular article, so I hope that doesn't seem to sway you.
Several that just, you know, there's different information out there, and I was simply asking a question. I'm not saying one way or another.
Right. So I'll tell you what, you do your job and I'll do mine. And I'm going to tell you, as an authority in this that I've been working with, that a mask will work. Now, whether you choose to believe that or not, then that's up to you. Okay? However, I will say this. The nation, the world believes in the masks. But if you choose not to, that's fine. Other questions?
I have a comment. I don't have a question. I want to thank you for your passion and your fight for us, those of us who may come into your hospitals. And I also appreciate how you organized with Mr. Burdell to have Dr. Red on the district meeting that I had to talk to the constituents from District 4. I want us to continue to hear about how important it is to wear our mask. So I appreciate you networking that so that we can have him on the phone with us. It was just awesome. They had questions. I think it helped them have with some of their anxieties and made them feel more aware of what they're doing and how they need to continue to proceed to stay safe. So I appreciate you, and I thank you for your fight and coming.
Well, I appreciate that, Ms. Graham. Thank you.
Thank you.
Doc, it's my fault you're here again tonight, so I apologize, and I apologized to you last time.
Well, Mr. Pruitt, I appreciate you standing up for us.
Let's go forward.
I am, and I just tell this council real quick, and I told him that day, if anybody went to you tomorrow to get medical advice, we would do exactly what you told us to do. Pretty simple. And I missed it, and I think some of us missed it up here.
CC, you got the...
I do, and you through, Mr. Pruitt?
Yep.
Council, Mr. Baldwin called me about a couple questions. In section 2, where it has 2 other than 2, it should be 6 years of age. We moved that from 2 years old to 6 years of age, and that's throughout the ordinance on the substitute.
That's section 2?
No.
Oh, under section 1, number 2.
Under section 1.
Section 1.
Number 2.
Quotation 2.
You're making an amendment to change.
Take out the word 2. Should be
2
6. Yes.
and change it to 6.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think, Mr. Pruitt, you had something that we discussed earlier. You want to scratch that?
Can you put it in yours, or do I have to make a note?
I can put, we just let Brenda know.
Can you change the fines?
Yeah,
So we're
section
going
5.
From 500 to 250?
Yeah, and I agree with that. Mr. Pruitt asked that we change the fine for the big boxes to 250 instead of 500.
Section 3, Ms. Brenda.
Yeah, I know what it is, but the protocol is it going to be by consensus that you change this? I need to know if there's any
You're going to have to
council.
give us the changes he needs to make, and then he can go forward.
Is it by consensus? Because I want to vote on this tonight. I don't want this to go back and come back 2 weeks.
Yeah, no.
So if we can agree on that as ladies and gentlemen and move forward on this ordinance tonight, let's do so. We done heard from the professionals. We've been here 3 weeks. We're trying to get something on the books so our team, our law enforcement, and our citizens can know what we're standing for as the city of Montgomery as we go forward.
Mr. Jenwright, the two changes are we're taking the 2 out, and we're taking a $500 fine to $250 on the big box.
Going to what, $250?
Yes, sir, from 500 to 250.
I didn't
On
say.
section 3.
Okay, wasn't there
There's amendment to
$25
section
fine?
1.
It's still from 25 for individuals, 250 for businesses. Section 3.
Let me make sure the clerk is,
Section 3 I've got shows a $500 fine, a 30-day jail sentence.
Let's make this simple. Anywhere there's $500 as a fine, let's just change that to $250. Is that the consensus of the council?
There's one other thing that I wanted.
Is that for business or individual?
25 for individuals and $250 for any businesses.
In businesses.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and if that's the case, that takes out the misdemeanor, right? In section 5?
Yes, that makes it a,
Hey,
Section
Charlie,
3.
we can't put the cart before the horse. Let Stacy explain it. I don't understand it, but it's state statute.
Well, and haven't you got one you reprinted, CC, that's got all this in it?
yeah, we did have it and it came up today when everybody looked at it, Mr.
We
Ball.
looked at that one this afternoon.
Word 2 should say 6, so it's just a typo. And then we just negotiated the fine today with Mr. Pruitt from 500 to 250.
So you've done away with all the others?
Done away with, what was that?
No jail term?
No. Yeah, we did, I don't even think that's in it.
You didn't have jail term in it?
It's not even in the new one about jail time.
Well, what I'm looking at, I got jail term.
Ms. Jenwright,
looking at it at?
let Stacy, the attorney, explain section 5, because that's what we were outside. I was trying to get it taken out, and there's some legal reason why we can't, and she needs to explain it.
Okay, section 4 is just reiterating what's in the state order. It's in force already, so it's just restating the state order. Section 5 is the penalty for violating a state health order. So it's governed by statute. It's not something we can change. If anyone violates section 4, they are in fact violating the governor's or the public health order. And by statute, that's a misdemeanor violation.
If they go to court and pay the extra $150?
Yes, it's not a violation. It would not be a violation of this ordinance. It'd be a violation of the state health order.
Of that particular section, Charlie.
Okay.
For
They
section
still have to
4.
pay the $150 fine into court?
Whatever they get, if they get arrested, they're gonna
Okay.
get a 25.
What you said last week
Yes.
done with me because of the actual how much you would have to pay. You had to charge some poor person.
That's the only way they're gonna get arrested.
Okay, whatever you think's right.
okay, the clerk is confused.
All right, let's go, Brenda.
All right, see if you can reiterate what
What are y'all changing?
We're changing, let me say what I understand. In section 3, we're changing it, because we can't do that because we come back to a hearing of the council, from $500 for business to $250.
Let's see, in section 3, changing 500 to 250.
Yes, ma'am, that's the only change. In section 1, under the exception where it says 2, children 6 years down there on the third, fourth line from the bottom, older than 2 should be just 6.
6, just those 2.
And from what I understand in section 5,
We gotta leave it in.
nothing that we can do.
It's nothing,
Good.
yep.
I'm good with that.
Just reiterate.
Those are the only 2. I'm on board.
Everybody on board? Consensus of the council?
So two adjustments, right?
That's it.
Okay.
All right.
All right. You got a motion to adopt
move.
the,
Hold on, you got somebody opposed.
No, we don't have, it's not a public hearing.
We've already had a public
This is
hearing.
We've
not,
already had a public, no public hearing.
okay, so the motion
no
before
public
us
hearing.
now is to
Sorry, no.
substitute as
amended.
amended by consensus.
Got a motion to substitute as amended by consensus of the council?
Have a motion to substitute. All in favor, raise your hand.
Does the doctor work for the city?
7. Are you a no vote?
Suspend rules. I mean,
No,
he's
this
just
is not suspending the road. You're going to abstain?
staying.
Okay.
Okay, it's 7 and 1.
Okay. All right, now you're going back to the main motion.
Yes, motion to adopt is substituted.
Have a motion to adopt as substituted. All in favor, raise your hand.
7 with 1 abstention.
Okay, got your deal.
Thank you, council.
The ordinance is adopted as
Feel like a nation.
amended and substituted.
Thank you.
Mr. Jenwright.
This is what we passed.
Mr. Jenwright, that's complete nonsense what just happened. There's no transparency in this city, none at all. You need to learn something. That there's
Sir,
something called
President,
an
you're out of order.
Overtime
You're out of order.
Alabama
You're
Meetings
out
Act.
of order.
Mr.
Sit down.
Mr. President, let me say before we close.
Move for adoption. Move for adjournment.
Hold
hold
on.
on,
Got
hold on.
one statement up here.
You know, since we don't have a work session, it's hard for us to talk about a lot of things, but like the doctor said, I must address my residents in my district. And right now, my residents are not worried about COVID-19. They're worried about the crime that I'm having in 18, my district. And the last week, maybe I had 2 killings, one in broad daytime. So I want us to have this same passion that we have about COVID-19 when it comes to crime in Montgomery. Because we won't have to worry about those numbers going down. We'll have to worry about people moving out.
Exactly.
And that's something that something that we must address. I want that same passion. Like the doctor came in and talked about those COVID-19s. I want him to come in and talk about those gunshot victims, those victims that's coming to the hospital due to crime. That's the same passion I want this city of Montgomery to have. And we have to address it. We've been on this city council and we have not addressed crime. We have not talked about it. We have not put in the resources that we need to fix this city. And it's time that we do. And that's what I want to say. It's time that we take Montgomery back over. And I'm doing it one neighborhood at a time.
Well, you're right on, because that's what we need. We need it bad. And it's amazing what happens in these bars at night. And every time I look up, I see a negative on my phone,
Mr. President.
and I don't like it. Yes,
Mr.
sir.
President, can we get Chief Finley or somebody from MPD to address some of the club issues that we've got in
Yeah,
town
that'd be a good idea.
before we go home?
Empire.
We did.
I can't hear you.
What's the one out there on Square Street on the?
Yeah.
That you
Chief,
talking
I've
about shooting
heard-
everybody?
We've got reports that there's been some issues at certain clubs, Club Ciroc, fights in the Walgreens parking lot. shootings of
All that's
agents.
true. And so what we want to do, I know that we're going to give a show cause to Ms. Blaylock, and so we can bring him back here. We have that document. I'm tired of it. I had a conversation with my staff. Enough is enough. So that's on both of them. And so I will put something officially in writing. We already had that first conversation with him a month ago. Enough is enough. And so
Short conversation, Mr. President. I'm going to move to adjourn. Thanks, Chief. Wait.
And so the last thing in reference to Councilperson Mitchell's, I'm serious about that. And so one of the things, I'm going to be real short, I get kind of winded sometimes. One of the things that we're going to do is, with our weekly park walk and talk, I'm inviting all you guys out there, all the community out there, to come walk with us in these communities. I'm tired of this nonsense, right? These nonsense shootings, right? And we can prevent it. It's not, we can't prevent everything, but these communities can. These pastors, these family members, anybody in the community that got wind of some nonsense out in this community, they need to speak up. We've been talking about see something, say something for the last 10, 15 years. I need everybody to speak up, because we're going to be out there, we're going to do our job. And our job is to put them in jail that need to go to jail, but we can prevent some of this nonsense out there. And so that's what we got to do. So I'm with you guys, but I need the support from you guys to come out there and support us. And if you guys have anything that you want to do, you want to have a conversation, you got to call us. We're going to be there. We got a new mantra in the PD now. We're going to be more accountability, more responsible, and we're going to be out there. And so challenge us. You don't challenge us, we ain't gonna be out there. So we don't want to be behind the 8 ball. We want to be in front of the 8 ball pushing it. But it's all about proactive. It's all about being preventive. And we need more soldiers out there to help us be positive problem solvers and community engagers in a nice way. And we can get ugly. We put you in jail to be ugly, but we want to be that community supporter. So I see you guys out there tomorrow. Ridgecrest. Yes.
Put the mic up there.
Microphone.
Can't hear you, Brantley. Put your mic up.
I'm saying with the social distance that they're recommending, how in the world do you have 500-600 people in a bar and even come close to being able to achieve that?
Yeah,
Or
Brian,
wearing masks. I mean, parking lot.
It's parking lot, inside, outside. They're responsible for inside, outside that club. We got to document it, and we're gonna make it happen. So I need your support on these clubs on the east side and the south side, west side. Doesn't matter. We got to document. The fire department's been a godsend with us to kind of monitor that, get those numbers, and we got documentation on that. So enough is enough. And again, they are not contributing to the safety of the city. And so we are constantly dealing with these folks every week, and it's manpower intense. Even though they might hire a couple officers, it's not enough. It's not enough. So we want them to have a reputable business, have a business where everybody want to come and enjoy themselves. But when they get out of hand, enough is enough. So we're going to provide the documentation for Ms. Blaylock. Thank you.
Okay. Meeting adjourned.